I want to begin first by just greeting you with my Brave Writer teacup. I hope that all of you are drinking something yummy and that your kids are present. If your kids are here, definitely tell us. We are thrilled that you are coming along for this ride. Every year, we like to welcome all of you into the inner workings of Brave Writer. We spend literally an entire year as a team discussing the book list that we think will give you the best language arts experience over the following year. We look at modern novels. We look at novels written by a diverse authorship. So we will have some authors this year that come from completely different worldviews and experiences, and then some that will match yours, and you will be able to relate to them in both that familiar and that getting to know you way. Dawn, who heads up our publishing, has read scores of books. We have spent time as a team reading synopses, reading the books with her, discussing the best sequence of books. Cindy Clark, who has been with me forever, she's got exquisite taste in books and helps us make sure that they're not all too sad, that they're not all too silly, that they're not all too long, that we always pair a book with December that won't overwhelm you, right? Like, we want to make sure that you are going to have a book you can actually get through between Thanksgiving and the New Year. So with all of that in mind, these book lists are designed with a lot of care and a lot of thought. Somebody just this week referenced the NFL draft. Like, this is our draft time where we're on the clock and we're picking the book for August. I love that. I'm a big sports fan, so that analogy really worked for me. What I'm excited to share with you, and the reason that I think these books this year are in particular wonderful choices, is that I think we've done an amazing job of balancing classics with brand new modern novels. And we are giving your family a rich opportunity to dive deeply into the literary craft of how these books were created, not only the storylines. So we've vamped now for 3 minutes. I'm assuming everybody is able to make it in. Please feel free to share this, especially if you're on Facebook, but also on Instagram. Just let people know they can tune in. This replay will be available both on Facebook and on our website. We will send out an email to our whole, 80,000 person member list and let you know so that you can review it. I want to get right to the books because I know that's why you're here, but I have one more thing I want to share with you, especially if you're new. The Arrow and the Boomerang are two of our products that are a part of a suite of 5. So we have products that teach your kids how to read, how to write, that early stages of learning how to put the sentences together and how to copy them. And then we have products that focus on literature, literary craft, literary elements, grammar, spelling, punctuation. They cover the whole range of ages. Today we are looking at the Arrow, which is for 3rd to 6th grades, and the Boomerang, which is for 7th to 11th grades. Typically 8th grade really is our ballywick. We like to think that your kids are in 8th grade, but occasionally we'll have a 7th grader who's sophisticated, or we have a family where you've got a 10th grader, an 8th grader, and a 7th grader. Your task as a home educator is to select the tool that suits the majority of your kids. So let me give you an example. I have 5 children, and when they were in the age range of 13 down to about 6, I would pick the Arrow as my tool. I would use those books, the level of books that were sort of that 3rd to 6th grade range. As my youngest came up into the 4th and 5th grades and 6th grades, that's when I might slide into the pouch level or the Boomerang level. You get to decide the maturity of your children, what they can enjoy and listen to and grasp easily. That's your job. Can you mix and match? You definitely can. We publish each of these little digital guides that go with the books on the 1st of each month. What that means is you can choose either to buy the year-long program, which equals 10 guides, or you can just wait to the 1st of each month and buy a mixture. You might buy 5 boomerangs and 5 arrows. You might alternate between your older 2 kids and your younger 3. That is a perfectly valid way to use our suggested guides and books. So as you're listening, just be excited about the titles, maybe take notes, and then at the end, I'm going to go over some brand new features you can look forward to in this year's Arrow and Boomerang, because we got you covered. Some of you who are worried about scheduling and not knowing how to implement, oh my goodness, we've heard you. And we have ideas for this year that are going to make things so much easier. Secondly, I'm going to be around. I'll be participating in the Facebook support group for the Arrow and Boomerang this year. So if you are looking for the course curriculum developer to speak with, to get ideas from, you'll find me there. That's what we're doing this year. So welcome. Here we go. Are you ready for August? We are going to do 1 arrow and 1 boomerang. We're going to go month by month so that both levels of children will sustain interest. We don't want you to have to sit all the way through the arrows if all you're looking for are the boomerangs and vice versa. All right, here we go. For August, I'm going to read you a teaser. Then in comments, I want you to guess the book, and then I'll read you a full description and show you the book cover. Are you ready? These wonderful teasers, etc., were written by Dawn, so I want to give her credit for that. Someone's asking, will we hear about the pouch? The pouch of boomerangs and the quiver of arrows are static products. They each have 10 guides already in them, and you can read about that on the website. All right, no more interruptions. Let's get ready to roll. Here come your 2019-2020 arrows and boomerangs. First one, August. The teaser is, a tenacious mama teams up with a group of exceptional rodents to save her son. This is an Arrow book. Anyone know what it is? I'm going to open chat because I love to see what you guys say. Yes, it is Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim. Woohoo! So let me read you a little synopsis. Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim is written by Robert C. O'Brien and is a Newbery Award-winning tale of an unusual group of rats with the ability to solve even the most puzzling problems. With the threat of the farmer's plow looming, Mrs. Frisby, a mouse, must find a way to keep her son Timothy warm and safe while he recovers from his illness. Can the extraordinary Rats of Nim help her? This delightful tale might just change your perspective on rats and mice. Even if the rats don't win you over, the story will provide you and your kids with captivating characters to discuss and an adventure-filled tale to share. Woohoo! We've got Mrs. Frisby. What is our boomerang book for August? We always like to start with slam dunks, books that everybody knows and loves. Here, ready? Here's the teaser. A small humanoid creature who lives in a hole, who loves nothing better than to sip tea and read, goes on a grand adventure. There's a dragon. Oh, and a ring, too. Yes, you all guessed because you're such good literary people. Woohoo! The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. So let me read you about that. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit introduces readers to Bilbo Baggins. Oh, I'll keep it up for you so you can see it. Gollum, Gandalf the Grey, and the magnificent world of Middle-earth. This epic story published for the first time in 1937 and follows Bilbo, the reluctant adventurer, on his journey to help a company of dwarves retake their ancestral home from Smaug the dragon. It's a very uncomfortable adventure indeed. Woo! All right, look at that. We just got through August. We are on our way. Are you ready for September? I think you are. The teaser for the Arrow for September. Imagine being shipwrecked and entirely out of your element, alone in the wild. Imagine you are not a human being. The main character of this novel becomes a most amazing, albeit unlikely mother, bringing together a host of animals, once at odds. Anyone know? Oh my gosh, you guys are so good at this. Woohoo! It's The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. Let me read you a little bit about it. The Wild Robot by Peter Brown is not about a robot gone wild, but a robot in the wild. Roz the robot has no idea how she got to this island or what her purpose is, but she knows she needs to survive. After battling a violent storm and escaping a vicious bear attack, she realizes that her only hope for survival is to adapt to her surroundings and learn from the island's unwelcoming animal inhabitants. As she learns to survive in an environment she was not built for, she creates connections and community. A robot with a big heart, Roz's search for meaning will create plenty of opportunities to discuss. So here is September for the Arrow. Ready for the Boomerang for September? Here we go. Here's the teaser. A girl who marches to her own drum, or should we say ukulele, and a boy who is captivated by her. It's been called an instant classic. Oh, you guys are great at this. You're all such good readers. This is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. Jerry follows Leo Borlaug as he navigates the treacherous waters of high school. Looking to fit in, Leo's plan is foiled when he falls for Stargirl, the outrageously nonconformist new girl. From the day she arrives at quiet Mika High in a burst of color and sound, the hallways hum with the murmur of Stargirl, Stargirl. She captures Leo Borlaug's heart with just one smile. She sparks a school spirit revolution with just one cheer. The students of Mika High are enchanted at first. Stargirl sends Leo and the rest of the students at the high school for a tailspin as they grapple with the shifting winds of popularity and what it means to be true to yourself. Friendship, family, and the blending of nature, so much more. All right, here we go. Jerry Spinelli, Stargirl for the Boomerang. All right, the next one. You ready? This is for the Arrow, October 2019. Life changes. Our protagonist, a sixth grader, is not ready for the multi-generational challenges in her living situation. Anyone who has watched the decline of a beloved abuelo or family member will find this book stirring and inspiring. You know what it is? Oh my gosh, you guys are just so good at this. That's right. Mercy Suarez Changes Gears by Meg Medina. This one was one of the ones that won the Newbery Award this year. So it's the 2019 Newbery winner. Beautiful book. Very excited for you to read it. Mercy Suarez Changes Gears is the heartwarming and sometimes heart-wrenching story of a delightfully relatable protagonist, Mercy Suarez. Mercy knew that sixth grade would be different, but she just had no idea how different. For starters, Mercy was unlike the other kids at her private school in Florida because she and her older brother Raleigh are scholarship students. They don't have a big house or a fancy boat, and they have to do extra community service to make up for their free tuition. As she navigates sixth grade, Mercy struggles with the developmental and emotional changes that come with growing up. Along with her typical tween concerns, she and her tightly knit family must also come to grips with the effects of Alzheimer's disease on her beloved grandfather. This is a story about growing up, growing old, and growing as a family. It will spark big, juicy conversations about family and friendship with your kids. People are saying they're having a hard time hearing me. Is that true? I hope that's not true. If you are having a hard time, go to Facebook and see if that makes a difference. Great. Good. That's wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a beautiful story, and I look forward to all of you reading it and sharing about it in our group. Okay. How about October for the Boomerang? Are we ready? Here we go. Here's the teaser. Fleeing their homeland to live in the United States, a sister and brother create a new life in rural Nebraska. They learn English, see snow for the first time, and wonder if they will ever be reunited with their parents. Anyone know which one this one is? I think this one's going to be a stumper. I'm looking to see. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. The Red Umbrella, that's correct. The Red Umbrella by Cristina Diaz Gonzalez is the tale of 14-year-old Lucia Alvarez, who has been relocated with her younger brother from Cuba to the United States as part of Operation Pedro Pan, an operation that facilitated the flight of more than 14,000 Cuban children to the U.S. to flee Fidel Castro's revolution. Lucia misses the way it used to be before the revolution came marching into her small Cuban town. As she adapts to her new life in the heartland of America, she wonders if she will ever see her homeland and her parents again. Now, I hope you noticed these two books, same month. So if you've got older kids doing the Boomerang and younger kids doing the Arrow, you're going to be in sort of the same culture, thought, kind of story. So this creates a unity for you in the home. So that's one of the ways we think about these books, by the way. So isn't this beautiful? I'm excited for you to read it. That's October. We're making our way. Who's ready for November? November is my birthday month. I'm very excited about this. All right, so here we go. November. This is for the Arrow, the 3rd to 6th grade level of our Language Arts and Mechanics product. Teaser. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, a genius, a criminal mastermind, or all three. When you kidnap a fairy, you'd better be prepared for the consequences. Who knows this one? I knew you would. You guys are great. The amazing Artemis Fowl. He is such a delight. There is a whole series for this book. So if your kids get into this one, you can just keep going back to the library and get all of them. It's a great way to help kids really get into reading. So let me read you a little more about the story. Artemis Fowl by Ian Colfer introduces readers to Artemis, a boy criminal mastermind you'll love, hate, or love to hate. Artemis, most unconventionally, seeks to restore his family fortune and pull his family back together by kidnapping a fairy. Not just any fairy, a dangerous fairy. This story blends the modern and the magical with delightful effect. Get ready for an adventure of a lifetime with Artemis. There are 8 books. Yes, thank you so much. They're super fun. And you know, when we're talking about doing things like copywork and dictation, when you take passages from treasured books, your kids actually take pleasure in writing the words out because it calls to mind all the memories of what it felt like to read those words for the first time. So as you are looking at these books, remember, you are giving them a treasured opportunity to capture meaningful passages in their own handwriting that they'll be able to remember forever. That's one of the fun things about this whole process. So what are we doing for November? Well, again, trying to sort of pair what the olders and the youngers are thinking about. Are you ready? Teaser for the Boomerang 2019 November. Followed by the terrible shadow that he unleashed, a young wizard must find a way to restore balance. Who knows this one? Anybody? Anyone? Ooh, I think I finally stumped the group. Okay, here we go. Earthsea, A Wizard of the Earthsea. This is by Ursula K. Le Guin and was first published in 1968. So you know how we have this feeling like all the wizarding stuff started after Harry Potter? She is a brilliant, brilliant writer. And it is a classic to read. Yes, exactly. This coming-of-age story follows a young village boy with an aptitude for the magical arts. Youth and a thirst for power lead him to unleash a terrible shadow into the world. In his hunger for power and knowledge, he tampered with long-held secrets and loosed a terrible shadow upon the world. This is the tumultuous tale of his testing, how he mastered the mighty words of power, tamed an ancient dragon, and crossed death's threshold to restore balance. Truly an exciting read. Yay! Good. I'm glad you're excited about it. Me too. That was the Boomerang. So now we have come to December, which is halfway through the year. December is always a chaotic and busy month for our Brave Writer families, for all homeschooling families, let's be honest. So we try to pick books that you'll want to read, but that don't demand too much of you, that aren't super long, that are enjoyable, that your kids will want you to read quickly, okay? So first of all, I know that the book for December for the Arrow level is one that your kids are absolutely going to love, and many of you already know this book. The book for the Boomerang is a little longer, but it is a classic, well-known book, so I think you'll be fine. So are you ready? Here we go. The teaser for December. These kids must win over their reclusive neighbor. If they don't succeed, they'll have to leave the only home they've ever known. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good. Yoo-hoo! The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. Now, this book is super hugely popular, and I bet a lot of you have already read it. That's why we put it in December. Because you can do the copy work, the discussion, read a little bit of it, but you've already read the book, so it won't be hard for you. Now, if you haven't read it, it's not that long, and the font is a nice big size, and it is so delightful. Your kids are going to want you to just sit around, make hot chocolate, and read the book, okay? The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street by Karina Young Glazer is a timeless, heartwarming story that reads like a classic in a contemporary setting. Set in Harlem, the endearing cast of characters brings this New York neighborhood to life. The 5 Vanderbeeker kids live in the same neighborhood where their dad grew up. To stay in their beloved brownstone, they've got to convince a landlord they never see to renew their lease. Their hijinks will make you laugh. Their tenderness will make you sigh. Their determination will make you root for them. If you liked the Penderwicks or the Melendys, you'll adore the Vanderbeekers. I love this book. You guys are going to as well. All right, and that's also a series, so your kids can keep reading after you've read the read aloud. All right, ready for December. Here's what we're doing. We'll do a recap after the first 5 books, so if you just joined late, don't worry, I'm about to restate them, and then we'll do second semester books, okay? So December for the Boomerang is a beloved classic. It's had multiple movie adaptations. There is a musical based on this book, and there is yet another movie adaptation coming out. The heroine of this book has a motto: write what you know. Who knows what it is? Anyone? Can you guess? Yes, you guys are amazing. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Set in Concord, Massachusetts during the Civil War, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott was first published in 2 volumes. Did you know that? In 1868 and 1869. The novel pulls readers into the lives of Marmee, that wonderful transcendentalist mother of 4, Joe, Meg, Beth, and Amy, the March family. I just butchered that. Let me say it again. This novel pulls readers into the lives of Marmee, who is this wonderful transcendentalist type mother of 4 daughters: Joe, Meg, Beth, and Amy, the March family. This enduring classic brings to life both family loyalties and conflicts, wrestling with the limits and opportunities of what was then the modern age, and finding oneself in the midst. The Christmas holiday season provides an important setting for this book, and the latest movie adaptation will be released in December 2019, so it is the perfect read for December. So enjoy. Of course, I adore this book. One of the all-time greats. All right. I am now, for fun, going to recap for you the 5 arrows that are the first semester, and then we will recap the 5 boomerangs. Are you ready? Here we go. The first arrow for August is Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim. The arrow for September is the Wild Robot. The arrow for October is Mercy Suarez Changes Gears. The arrow for November is Artemis Fowl. And the arrow for December, rounding out semester 1, is the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. Let's look at the Boomerangs now, which are for 8th to about 10th and 11th grade. Are you ready? For August, The Hobbit. For September, Stargirl. For October, The Red Umbrella. For November, Earthsea, A Wizard of Earthsea. And finally, rounding out first semester Boomerang, Little Women. Are you excited so far? How do these sound? Good. All right, let me just shake it out. Deep breath. For those who are just joining late, on Facebook, hello, on the Zoom webinar, the Boomerang and the Arrow are 2 of our literature and mechanics programs. You get a monthly digital download to go with the book you're reading aloud or the book your teen is reading. We give you detailed notes about grammar, spelling, punctuation, and literary devices. We help you understand the literary themes. We do rudimentary literary analysis at the Arrow level and more in-depth analysis that meets the needs of high school students at the Boomerang level. These guides include party ideas so you can have book clubs and themes to go with it. We also include what we call big juicy questions or think piece prompts at both levels, allowing your kids to explore these books in conversation or in writing or both with you. We give you guidelines to make sure that those arrows and boomerangs are easy to use and that you get the maximum value out of the copywork and dictation passages we select. There will be 1 passage per week that you can use for copywork or dictation, and we give you detailed notes about how to do that. I'm now going to shift and do the 2nd semester of the book titles, and then at the end, I will give you some brand new information about what we're doing this year in the Arrow and Boomerang that is new, that we have not done in the past, and how you can benefit from that. We will also open the floodgates in our store for you to purchase the year-long program, all 10 guides for all 10 books, books not included, you get those on your own. And it will be a discounted rate just for the month of June. We hope that you'll join then, and then you'll be able to join the private Facebook group that goes with if you decide to purchase all 10 guides of either program. Okay? So that's my halfway point. We will talk now about the other 5 books, and then we will give more detail about the actual programs themselves. Here we go. Ready for January? I sure am. So here's the teaser for the 3rd to 6th grade level, The Arrow, for the January book. This book, by the way, I'm so excited about. A secret recipe. People willing to do just about anything to get their flour-covered hands on it. That's the core storyline of this delightful read. Who knows the book? Anyone? I'm going to give you a little hint further. There are recipes in this book. Yes! Pie by Sarah Weeks. Literally, you guys, there is a pie recipe at the start of every chapter. I mean, aren't you going to just want to turn this into the month of fractions? You're going to do like math, following a recipe, doubling the recipe, cutting the pie into different fractional sizes and shapes. You could look at the PI. What am I trying to say? How to find the circumference, the area, whatever, of a circle. Obviously, I'm a literature person. Anyway, pie for January. So let's hear more about this amazing book. Oh yeah, I like to hold it. Here we go. Over here. Actually, for semester 2, we'll do it over here. Okay, here we go. Pie by Sarah Weeks is a sweet tale about friendship and family. When Alice's Aunt Polly, the pie queen of Ipswich, passes away, she takes with her the secret to her world-famous pie crust recipe. Or does she? Alice is left with Aunt Polly's cat Lardo and a pie-related mystery. What is the secret to Aunt Polly's world-famous pie crust recipe? What explains Polly's choice to leave the recipe to, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. You're just going to have to read the book to find out. Small town politics, pie baking contests, and a few red herrings make this book a delightful read. Plus, recipes! With a pie recipe at the beginning of each chapter, you and your kids will be running to the kitchen to make award-winning pies all month long. So much fun. I love this book. All right. For the Boomerang. This is an American classic and a bestseller for over 30 years. It rates as the top book on many people's most beloved novel of all times. This is a book that many people claim is the best book ever written. You may or may not agree, but I'm trying to build up the drama here because this is a very well-known book. Here's the premise. Two boys from boarding school during World War II. What happens between these two friends one summer, like the war itself, banishes the innocence of these boys and their world. You guys got it right away. A Separate Peace. A Separate Peace is a harrowing and luminous parable of the dark side of adolescence. Here you meet Gene, who faces the challenge of finding his own individuality in a conformist world. The kind of individuality he's envious of in his friend, the free-spirited Phineas, better known as Finney in the book. How they navigate their friendship, their relationship, is what makes this book compelling and timeless. And with all books, make sure you pre-read, pre-screen. I don't want to hear later that you're like, Julie, I can't believe you chose that book. It's not for me. You get to decide. You have your children. Your values may not match what we had in mind. It's also possible the maturity level of some of these books will be different for each of your families. But we love this book, so good luck. February. February is Black History Month, nationally known. One of our speakers coming to the Brave Learner Conference this summer, Sharnae Gordon, is a diversity and inclusion expert. One of the things I've learned from her and other people who are in that field with her is that sometimes Black History Month makes it sound as though the only thing we should teach are Black stories during February and not the rest of the year. That isn't how we feel. That said, February is a wonderful opportunity for us to go ahead and take advantage of that focus in addition to other times of the year. We also are aware that sometimes Black History Month tends to only focus on slavery, and we're going to talk about that in a minute when I describe these two books to you. So let's now give you a hint about the storylines and then come back for a little bit more information about diversity and inclusion in the homeschooling experience of literature. So this one is for the Arrow. The first teaser for the Arrow is a town named Bumblebee, the Ku Klux Klan, a fight launched by children. How many of you know what book that is? Anybody? I'm looking to see on Facebook too. Hello, Facebook. You guys got it. That's right. Stella by Starlight, which is a gorgeous read. And here is more detail about the storyline. Sharon Draper's book, Sharon Draper, by the way, fabulous writer. Sharon Draper's book is a riveting tale of courage during the Depression era in North Carolina. One late night, later than Stella should ever be up, much less wandering outside, Stella and her little brother see something they're never supposed to see, something that is the first flicker of change to come, unwelcome change by any stretch of the imagination. As Stella's community, her world is upended. She decides to fight fire with fire, and she learns that ashes don't necessarily signify an end. This book about family, community, and hope is infused with a sense of time and place. Draper weaves song and dialect into the story to create vivid scenes that bring the story to life. Stella by Starlight is an engaging, thought-provoking introduction to the struggles and triumphs of African Americans during the Depression. So this book introduces many families to that notion of what is the civil rights struggle. And one of the reasons that February tends to focus on books like this is because I remember growing up, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, We actually never studied the civil rights movement. We lived through it. And so by the time I got to adulthood, as an adult, white, grew up in the suburbs of LA woman, I did not have a strong awareness of the full journey from the time we brought Africans over from Africa to turning them into slaves, to then fighting a civil war, then the struggles throughout the 20th century. There was a lynching happening in the South every 3 days from the time the Civil War ended until the Civil Rights Act was signed into law in 1964. There is a journey piece that for me was omitted in my education. And I was a history major, so think about that. One of the things then that is my goal when we pick books in February, and they won't always be about that struggle, but it is to provide the narrative side of that historical piece of American history to make sure that all of us, whether you are white or you're Black or you're Hispanic or you're Asian or you are some other ethnic background, to appreciate what it takes to continue to struggle for the full dignity and respect that all Americans deserve. So this is a book that I think would be really powerful, not just for your children, but maybe for some of you as adults who are just in that weird window of time where it wasn't a routine part of your background education. So that's why I am committed to sharing these books during February. So now let's look at the one that we have selected for the Boomerang high school level. Are you ready? If they don't flee to the great dismal swamp, Grace may never see her family again. Who knows this book? Anyone? Anyone? Are you ready? Okay, I don't think anyone has said it, so I'm just going to have fun telling you. Unbound by Anne E. Berg. Anyone know Unbound? I'm happy I get to introduce a book to you you don't know. Unbound is a novel in verse. How many of you remember Inside Out and Back Again? Anyone? Or maybe you've read Kwame Alexander. We love to include diverse genres, not just diverse authorship or storylines. Unbound fulfills that goal. Yes, the red pencil, exactly. That's the kind of book this is. So let me tell you a little about this book since you're all new to it. Unbound, a novel in verse by Anne E. Berg, is the story of Grace, a 9-year-old enslaved girl. By the way, we use the language enslaved, not slave, because she's a girl first, and the enslaving happened to her. It's not her identity. When she is sent to work in the big house, her Uncle Jim warns her to keep her head down. Witnessing the heartlessness and hatefulness of the master and missus firsthand makes it increasingly difficult for strong-willed Grace to hold her tongue. A terrible chain of events is set off when Grace lets out the thoughts she has been holding inside. Grace's story introduces readers to a little-known chapter in American history, the story of enslaved people who sought freedom in the Great Dismal Swamp, a region spanning the borders of Virginia and North Carolina. After reading Unbound, you'll want to learn more about the amazing people who inhabited this region and the struggles they faced for freedom. How awesome, don't you think? I'm excited for you to read it, and I'm telling you, like, they have gorgeous writing like, "Hush, little babies," Mama sings, but her voice withers into rasps. "At my feet, the snake twitches and turns." "Leave it be," Aunt Sarah says. "Those white fangs still got poison in 'em, even dead. A snake, what's got venom, can kill." This is what I'm talking about, like the richness of the literature that you get to share in with your kids this year is going to deepen their appreciation for language, for writing, for taking risks. That's what I love about our choices. Okay, ready for March? March is fun. Some of you know this book, I'm convinced. Here's the teaser for the Arrow, March 2019. Books are hidden, codes are given. If she can decipher let's try it again. Teaser. Books are hidden, codes are given. If she can decipher the cipher, she'll reveal more than is written. Do you guys know it? Yes, indeedy. It is The Book Scavenger. And a lot of you know this one. Book Scavenger is a delightful tale of friendship and finding a place to call home. Emily's family moves a lot. While her parents see the freedom of their nomadic life as a gift, Emily yearns for roots and friendship. When they land in San Francisco, she unexpectedly stumbles upon a mystery, and just as unexpectedly finds a friend to help her solve it. Part coming of age, part mystery, Book Scavenger adds up to a whole lot of bookbinding adventure. So here's another great choice for the Arrow. Now, March for the Boomerang is going to challenge your teen readers. This is why we put it later in the year. We want them to have a really good experience all the way through February. And then in March, we're asking them to elevate, to learn to read something that is a timeless classic whose language might even feel a little bit arcane. Here's the good news. There's an old movie that goes with it that I urge you to try and find, maybe in a library somewhere. And if you read it together, you may discover some really precious lyrical writing in addition to this amazing, compelling story. Have I prepped it enough? Here's the teaser. The eccentric submarine captain in this novel is ahead of his time. Who knows? It's not Nemo. Well, Nemo, yes. That's the captain, right? You got it. Yes, Nemo is the captain, of course. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by the incomparable Jules Verne. Fantastic book. I love hearing you say you loved it. I just wanted to remind you that this book is challenging language, yet oh so rich. And your kids are going to grow. Like, one of the things I love about the classics is that the language they used that was modern at the time is revived for us to use in fresh ways, to expand our lexicons. So this is a really rich book. Let me read you about it. Undersea Marvels await readers in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Highly acclaimed at the time of publication in 1870, it has gone on to become a classic work of science fiction. Verne's novel brings Captain Nemo, Dr. Aronnax, and the marine life that few had seen at the time to life on the page. Dr. Aronnax is torn between a desire for freedom from the confines of the Nautilus and the urge to join Captain Nemo on his adventures to the depths of the ocean. This story highlights the clash between man and nature, and it introduces readers to the ideas of justifiable revenge and the fight for liberty at any cost. Quite compelling read. I still remember seeing the movie when I was a child, and it was like one of those thrilling, terrifying science fiction stories. Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Are we ready for April? We are so close. We only have 2 more books left for the Arrow and 2 left for the Boomerang. Okay, deep breath. Take a sip of your tea. Mine's getting cold. Yum. My voice. Okay. Who's ready? You ready? Here we go. April 2019 for the Arrow. Here's the teaser. In rural China, during the Cultural Revolution, life is hard. When a boy reaches out to save a young girl, she becomes the sister he never had, and one of the only people to truly understand him. Anyone know? Anyone know? This book, I think, looks beautiful. I have not yet read it, but I can't wait to. Are you ready? Bronze and Sunflower. Bronze and Sunflower. Here's what I think is totally amazing about this book. Translated from Chinese into English. Written by a Chinese author. Talk about getting an own voice into our list. I am so thrilled that we are doing this book. Let me read it to you. A best-selling children's book set in China, Bronze and Sunflower has been translated for American readers. What a gift. The story follows Sunflower, a young girl from the city, who is transplanted to the countryside during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, which occurred in my lifetime, by the way, between 1966 and 1976. She befriends Franz, She befriends Bronze, the often ostracized and misunderstood deaf boy from a nearby village. After tragedy strikes, Bronze supports Sunflower and she becomes the sister he always wanted. Even though life is hard in the village, Sunflower loves her new family. She worries, will she be able to stay with them? If you enjoyed The Birch Bark House, you'll love this book. We did that a few years ago. You know, the Cultural Revolution, when it was happening, was seen as a really positive thing. We've only discovered later some of the dynamics and dimensions of it that were horrific. But I actually had a teacher in high school who spent time in the Peace Corps in China during it and came back completely moved by their friendship first, competition second motto and some of the things they were trying to do. I think it's very fascinating to read about it in a children's book and to try and sort of address the complexity of what China was trying to solve. They could see on the horizon, we have to feed 1 billion people. They saw that. And most of China was poor. And that Cultural Revolution was an attempt to solve a problem, which of course leads to both horror and advancement. That happens over and over. So I urge you to consider reading and learning a lot about China when you read this book, and really coming to grips with the complex story that is that country. Good opportunity if you like, you know, looking at global education, not just American history. All right, what's the April Boomerang book? Are you ready? This is a great book. Our 12-year-old protagonist writes letters she can never send to a mother she has never known. This one almost makes me cry. I am so thrilled that we are reading this book. Anyone know what it is? It's gotten such great reviews. Okay, you ready? Here we go. The Night Diary. The Night Diary. And literally, Dawn had to send me a video so I could learn how to pronounce the name of the author. She's Indian and she has one of those gorgeous, long names. And here is how we say it. The Night Diary by Vera I knew I wouldn't get it, dang it. Hiranandani follows the harrowing story of Indian girl Nisha, a 12-year-old who is half Hindu, half Muslim. As tensions rise following India's independence from British rule, she finds herself in the middle of a conflict between both regions. In 1947, India was separated into 2 countries, Pakistan and India. The divide created much tension between Hindus and Muslims, and hundreds of thousands were killed crossing borders. Nisha doesn't know where she belongs or what her country is anymore. When her papa decides it's too dangerous to stay in what is now Pakistan, Nisha and her family become refugees and embark first by train but later on foot to reach their new home. The journey is long, difficult, and dangerous, and after losing her mother as a baby, Nisha can't imagine losing her homeland too. But even if her country has been ripped apart, Nisha still believes in the possibility of putting herself back together. Told through Nisha's letters to her mother, The Night Diary is a heartfelt story of one girl's search for her home, for her own identity, and for a hopeful future. This story is one of family hope and bravery. It gives readers a touching and insightful look at the tumultuous time of India and Pakistan's regional history. And if you liked Inside Out and Back Again, this is also a great read. Here's another example of a genre buster. Instead of just a novel, now your kids are being introduced to sort of the letter writing genre, but because these letters were never sent, it also functions as a diary. So one of the ways that you might encourage your kids to engage with this book at the time that you're reading it is to consider adopting the persona of someone in a historical time period and writing letters as opposed to book reports and 5-paragraph essays. Your kids are at the age, even in junior and senior high, where that sort of autobiographical genre can really be a tool for generating insight they won't get to if all they're doing is research and paraphrasing experts. So I offer this to you not only as a read aloud, but as a model of engaging with complicated, challenging historical moments. You know, where the complexity is not reduced to this group is right, this group is wrong, which, of course, complexity is a part of every historical moment, right? The Night Diary. We are down to the last 2 books. And the way we like to end the year, every year with Brave Writer, are books that either make you laugh or take you on a zany journey, something that doesn't leave you in the heart of despair over one of those complicated historical moments. So here we go. We are going to discuss now, give you the teaser for the May Arrow and Boomerang. Here's the teaser for May. This is the Arrow level. The bulldozers are waiting. The houses are ready to be built. Can the kids save the stadium and baseball as they love and know it? Who knows what book this is? Anyone? Perfect timing, right? It'll be May, right as baseball season is kicking into gear. Okay, here we go. The Boy Who Saved Baseball by John Ritter. The Boy Who Saved Baseball is about a plucky underdog of a team going the distance, aren't they all? With a bit of unconventional help to save their local ball field and maybe baseball itself. Not just for baseball fanatics, this story has something for everyone. Strong girls, funny boys, delightful character interactions, and cross-generational teamwork bring this story of community and friendship together in a way that will make you laugh, make you sigh, and may even make you shed a tear or two. If you're like me, I cry every book I read aloud. You don't have to have a household full of baseball fans to love this book. The characters drive the story, and they will stick with you long after the last inning. Now, I happen to be a huge sports fan, and one of the things I have loved, we've done many baseball books in May over the years. For some reason, that just feels really loving. It launches you into the summer in a way that almost no other book will. So if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, this will be a fun book for you to end your school year with. All right, we come to the final book of the 20 books that we have revealed on the 2019-2020 Arrow and Boomerang book reveal. Are you ready? Woo! You guys are so patient. You've hung with me for so long. Here we go. The teaser. When you have to spend every Wednesday afternoon with a teacher that surely hates you, you know 7th grade is going to be tough. Okay, you guys all know what book this is. This is an easy one. Wednesday Wars by Gary Schmidt. The Wednesday Wars by Gary D. Schmidt. Absolutely total rip-roaring, easy to read, fun book. This is a Newbery honor-winning novel that takes readers on a comical and often touching trip through 7th grade in the late 1960s, my era. Will Hollinghood, what a name, an unforgettable anti-hero, survived the trials of cream puffs, baseball heroes, enraged rats, and unexpectedly, William Shakespeare and yellow tights. With the Vietnam War in the backdrop, Holling does his best to dig deep for the courage to face each challenge thrown his way. Along the way, he realizes motivation to move forward can come from people he never thought could help and places he never thought to look. The Wednesday Wars. Woo! We did it! We of the Brave Writer tribe and the Lipstick tribe have made our way through all 20 books. I am now going to go through the full list, especially if you came in late, and I will show you each of the books, 10 in a row for the Arrow and 10 for the Boomerang. Are you ready? Then we're going to talk about the special features we are adding to the Arrow and Boomerang this year to make them an even more user-friendly, open and grow experience for all of you. Are you ready? Let's start with the Arrow. I have to flip the books over. Okay, wait, one more flip. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Here we go. August for the Arrow. Let's bring it up close. Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim. September, The Wild Robot. October, Mercy Suarez changes gears. Uh, November, lost track. November, Artemis Fowl. December, the Vanderveekers of 141st Street. January, Pie. February, Stella by Starlight. March. Oh, whoops. Wait a minute. That's right. March. Sorry. Book Scavenger. April. Bronze and Sunflower. And May, The Boy Who Saved Baseball. Somebody is saying you thought it was 11:30. It is 12:30 now. It was 11:30 an hour ago on the East Coast. So I don't know where you are. We're in daylight savings time. But we started an hour ago. Don't worry. This is all on Facebook, and we will send out the replay link for this webinar. So don't worry. So that is for the Arrow. Okay? Those are the 10. I got confused because I accidentally put the Wednesday Wars in my wrong stack. All right, let's look at the boomerang. Let's go one at a time. Ready? Arrow. Let's do this again. I'm getting tired. Okay, ready? Here we go. The Hobbit by Tolkien. This is August for the boomerang. The Hobbit. September, Stargirl. October, The Red Umbrella. Can you see it? November, Earthsea, A Wizard of Earthsea. December, Little Women. January, A Separate Piece. February, A Novel in Verse, Unbound. March, the classic 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. April, The Night Diary, Letters. And finally, the much beloved Wednesday Wars by Gary Schmidt for May. Those are your book lists. We will be posting the images on our Facebook pages. We have rewritten the descriptions of the Arrow and the Boomerang programs on our store pages to help you get a better sense of what they cover and what they do for you. So when you go to purchase, please read all that detail. For the month of June, we sell all 10 guides for $89, and that starts today. It will run until June 30th, and then they go back to regular price, which is $99. If you were to buy all the guides individually, it would be $129, like $120, like $12 a guide. So you are essentially getting a $30 discount when you buy them all 10 together in June. If you buy them as a group, you will be added to our Facebook private support group page. That's for Arrow and Boomerang people together. I'm sorry we don't add you unless you buy the complete year. And the reason for that is this is a perk of membership to that site. We are expending time. We pay a staff member to run the group. And so it is one of the benefits for being a paying program user, what we call subscribers. Each of the arrows or boomerangs that go with the book, so let's say you have free baseball, the Boy Who Saved Baseball, there will be a guide that goes with this book that teaches you copy, work, and dictation using 4 passages, and that has notes about grammar, literary elements, spelling, punctuation. It will have think piece or discussion questions to help you discuss the book. It will have book club party ideas. Those guides come out on the 1st of each month, starting in August. If you join later, let's say you decide in December to buy all 10, you will have access to all 10. The ones already published, August through December, and then the ones rolling out between January and May on the 1st of each month. So never worry. Whenever you purchase a year-long program, you get all 10. And whichever ones have already been published will come to you immediately. And then the others will be published on the 1st of each month. Does this make sense? The Facebook group is designed for two purposes. One, just to share. Like, you've got friends, you're all moving through the books at the same month at the same rate. You're able to discuss party ideas or ask questions specifically about the guide. Hey, I was explaining the ellipses. My child wasn't quite getting it. Anyone have ideas to help him get it? It's a support space to help you implement. But here's what's new. You just gave me the perfect segue into what's new. This year, I will be there. I will be reading along. I will be doing intermittent webinars, once a quarter or once every other month, where I am going to engage with you and make sure that you are having a joyful, successful experience. And your input will actually impact things that we do over the course of the year as we roll out new guides. So if for some reason something isn't clear or you have a suggestion, we will be taking those in earnest this year. So in the Facebook group. So we would absolutely love to have you join us. I am participating this year because we are interested in improving these guides to make them as useful to you as possible. And I know the best place to do that is with people who are using them. Because these roll out once a month on the 1st, we have the opportunity to make changes as we go. Now, what are some of those changes that we are already making to make this a better year for you? Well, there are two main things. Here's the first one. I'm very excited about this, by the way. So I'm super excited to share this. So we know that one of the strengths of Brave Writers programs is that they address a range of ages. So you can buy the Arrow and have 4 kids using the same Arrow. So you're only spending money once and it's working with 4 of your kids. But what do you do about that? You've got this passage that's 4 sentences long, and your youngest child can only copy a word and your oldest child could copy 2 paragraphs. What do? We are making suggestions to help you with those leveling up experiences or leveling down. We will have a section when you're looking at all the grammar, spelling, and punctuation notes that is called the less and the more sections. So the Brave Writer has a motto, less is more. We actually believe this. We think doing less work with more depth produces better learning. So for every arrow, there will be a section, every boomerang, that says less. It will be the essentials, the basics, the things that you want to make sure you cover. And if you cover those, you're good. And then the more section is leveling up. So if, for instance, you're looking at the less section and they're doing nouns, verbs, and adjectives, and you're like, done, we've got that. You'll go into the more section and look at ellipses and semicolons because your kids are ready. But if your kids are new to the Arrow and they haven't really experienced how we do grammar, which is completely different than everyone else, you might want to just stick in the less section for a while and only dip into the more if your child asks a question. So you're reading the passage, you do the less section, and then somebody goes, what are these dots? And you look ahead and you're like, well, actually, Julie explains the dots because she explains everything in these products. But now that I'm being asked the question, I can give her a meaningful answer, one that's just enough for what she wants to understand, but not so much that my 3rd grader is now overwhelmed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I've always said, tailor it, only share as much as your kids need. We keep finding out you want more hand-holding than that, and I'm happy to provide it. What I am not happy to provide, so let's understand Julie's personality and the personality of Brave Writer. I am never going to give you, do this on Monday, do this on Tuesday, do this on Wednesday. To me, setting a schedule is like signing up for self-flagellation because none of us can sustain somebody else's schedule long-term. So what we are literally doing is we are signing up to resent ourselves on a future calendar date. It's like booking a date with despair. That's how I see it. Because every scheduler I've met always talks about how to modify schedules. What does that tell you? It tells you that no one can live up to a perfectly planned schedule. What we can do is provide you with handholds so that you know, okay, these are essential. These are sort of like the cherries on top or the enrichment expansion ideas. We can narrow our focus on the less and expand as needed into the more. Our goal with the Arrow and Boomerang is to give you as much information as we can about the passage so you aren't left with questions about it. We won't cover everything because you'll see things we miss, but we will give you as much as possible, and then you get to tailor it to the unique levels and needs of your children. And now we'll give you a little handhold so that you feel more comfortable not teaching everything if you don't wanna. You got it? Good. Yay. I hear people saying they're very happy about this. Good. So then the second feature that we are organizing right now that is in very rudimentary stage. So I can't give you details, but I want to tell you what the vision is. Somebody's asking about the online book clubs. I will explain that in a moment. This is still the Arrow and the Boomerang guides, okay? If you purchase the entire year, they still only roll out on the first of the month. It's like a magazine subscription. You're going to get one per month. And the reason is I don't want you overwhelmed with 270 pages of material. Let's just do 1 month at a time. You get it like a magazine. And that will keep you from feeling overwhelmed and paralyzed, okay? All right, so what's the second new feature? The first is the less and more categories. The second new feature is going to be a checklist. And it is not tied to dates, although you can give dates if you want to, of how to move through the guide. So we haven't finalized all the pieces, so I don't want to overpromise, but what I want you to know is it will be things like, number 1, read the passage out loud. Number 2, look at all the punctuation marks and ask your children questions about them, and then we will give you some examples of how to do that. For instance, I remember back when I was doing copy work and dictation with my kids, we would look and somebody would point to a comma. And I would say, oh yeah, what do we call this? And one child would know it's a comma and another one wouldn't because they're young. And then I'd say, well, what does a comma do? And they would say back, I don't know what that's there for. So then we would do violence to the passage. I would have them put commas after every single word. And then we would read the passage obeying the commas. So they could start to hear how the comma actually interrupts the sentence when not used correctly. And when it is used correctly to indicate meaning, we hear it differently. We start to make a meaning match with this curve on the page. That's the stuff that we're talking about. People are asking if the updates will be applied to older guides. Not this year, but in 2020, we will be doing that kind of work, yes. I can't promise you deadlines. We have over 200 guides, so I have no idea how these features will roll out. Here's one of the cool things though. For any new guide, this checklist will be applicable to any old guide you have, right? Because these are independent of the specific book. So you will be able to use that checklist regardless. And perhaps we will upload it with the old ones. That's a new idea. Dawn, write that down somewhere. But that is our goal. So our goal is always to evolve with the community, to meet your needs, to find how our ethos, our belief system merges with what you need. A lot of families say they want open and go materials, and I am not a huge fan. Here's why. Open and go means you can check out the brain. It's like you hand it to the child. Now, you should have a few of those. Like you need those supermarket spelling workbooks that are $5 just to get some sanity in your life, right? You can use Wordly Wise, whether they learn anything or not, just to keep a kid busy while you're nursing a baby or making lunch. I'm a total fan of those. But that isn't what I'm producing. What we're producing are products that we call Open and Grow. Open and Grow. Our goal is to make sure that you as a parent are well equipped to say the things, to know the things, to explain the things related to whatever subject you're in. We happen to focus on writing, but the same should be true for math. And it does take a little bit of time. You do benefit from reading the guide before you use it, from opening the guidelines and making a cup of tea and parking your kids in front of the TV while you read through what is copy work, what is French style dictation, what is dictation, right? Open and grow. We're trying to give you more handholds so it won't feel overwhelming, but I refuse to make it so that you can check your brain out. because you signed up to homeschool. You didn't sign up to be an educational coordinator. You wanted to be a partner that helps your kids see the lights turn on. And we do that for you. This is what Brave Writer does. This is what we're good at. So if you trust us and you give us input, we will apply your input and we will help you have a rich language lifestyle with your kids. How many of you have used the Arrow and Boomerang? If you are in the chats right now, please share if you have found that you've grown through using the Arrow and Boomerang. Are you more able to relate to literary devices now? Are you spotting them in other books you read? Yes, exactly. This is what everyone's saying. They've absolutely grown, that they have discovered themselves sharing a literary element spontaneously in another book, right? Your kids will come back to you and say things like, hey mom, there's alliteration in Harry Potter. That's what's going to happen when it becomes a family culture of language, not checking the box to get done. But we're going to give you some boxes to check because I know some of you just have to check the box. You got to go and know that you did it, okay? So we will accommodate that need. Any questions before I go? I see there's a Q&A here, so I'm just going to look really quickly. The online class, let's talk about that right now. Our online book club discussions provide you the Arrow or the Boomerang, but we do not do the copywork and dictation in the class. You do that yourself with your kids. And then what they do in the class is they discuss the book. And the people who teach those classes are trained by us to draw out more insight from your children. We don't care about spelling, punctuation, or grammar in that class, which sounds antithetical to a writing community, but here's why. We have a philosophy of how you grow as a writer. First, you immerse yourself in language, reading it and talking. Those are the two ways. Second, you write about some of it without any attention to mechanics or format. You get comfortable with self-expression, not limited by your mechanics limits. And then the third way is you write to format. The Boomerang and Arrow book clubs are the second of those three things. You have read, and now you are going to discuss through typing, and we don't care what form you're using. It is all organized around you growing as a writer, connecting your thoughts with your hands. All right, is there a reading schedule for the book? There is not. And we don't give you one because some families read really fast and some like to go slower. The rule we have is this: make sure you have read past the copywork passage before you assign it. So we try to break up the copywork passages so that they're the beginning of the book, partway through, little more than halfway, and the end of the book. But you can pay attention to that. There are some families that read the whole book the month before, and then they just do the Arrow or Boomerang the following month. It's really up to you. There is no way to get all the guides at once. You have to wait until May. Like this past May, you could have done our previous year. People have asked us this about the homeschool printing company because they take time to print. They are pretty quick, we've noticed. Once the school year gets going, they're slower over summer. So one way to do it would be this. Start your year in September. So do the first book in September so that you get it in August, send it off to be printed, and then start your school year in September. And then you would be ending in June. That would be the solution. Right now, we don't produce them far enough ahead to provide you with that opportunity. Is it possible to tie these books into the culture studies history survey class? Definitely. Oh my gosh, definitely do that. And if you are not yet in the Homeschool Alliance, we're talking about that kind of planning in July. I'm redoing the entire set of planning tools built from my book and that kind of thinking, in addition to taking your child's personality and passions and all of that into account. It's a completely new revamp on how we do planning. Is it possible to purchase a combination? There is a possibility of purchasing a combination, but not for the discount. That would require us to do manual stuff to get you the guides. So what we recommend is buying them one at a time on the first of the month during the month that you want them. We do have the Boomerang link. Dawn will put that into the excuse me, she will put that into the comments, and Jeanette will put it in the Facebook comments. So $89 for 10 guides. You get your own books. We start right away on August 1st. The Facebook support group opens on August 1st. I will be a member this year. It is being run by one of our fabulous writing coaches, Erin Quinn, if any of you have had her. Dawn, of course, will be lurking and helping at all times because she's awesome. And that is part of what she does to serve the Brave Writer community. We are thrilled that you showed up live today. This is a complete blast for us. And thank you for being such an awesome community. We will send out the replay for this webinar on Zoom through our big email list. And the Facebook version will be available at all times on Facebook. Thank you for joining me today. Have a fabulous afternoon. Hello to all your kids. Mwah. Oh, last thing. Online class registration for summer and fall opens on Monday at noon Eastern. So if you are looking to take any classes with us, that's the time you can begin signing up. Thanks, everybody.